Hello there, my name is Matthew and this is Mandy, and today Mandy's going to paint a fourth picture. But before we do that, we've got some homework to have a look at. So should we do the official unveiling?
Unveiling of the homework.
There we go. So it was a mixing colour session using three primary colours: alizarin crimson, yellow ochre, French ultramarine blue. So how did you get on?
Okay, I found the hardest actually was the orange.
Okay, so that was the red and the yellow together.
Yeah, getting the mix right. It went quite red and then it was quite yellow and then there was too much paint. But eventually I managed to get, and it's not that bright up sort of orange really.
So a touch more red maybe and make it a little bit richer.
Yeah, a bit
and you
more
can play around with the consistency. Yeah. One of the hardest things to learn in watercolour painting is mixing colours.
Yes, it is. It's
hence
not,
the homework, you know.
Yeah, it's not easy.
You've learnt something by doing it and you've took something away from it hopefully as well.
Yeah, yeah.
What about the brown? Did you find the brown okay to mix?
Yeah, yeah, that was okay actually. It was really that was the
okay,
big one.
Right. Well, obviously the colours are fine, so there's no issues there. So as long as you've took something away from it, that's the main thing.
That's right. I think you learn as you go along, don't you? You
absolutely,
pick up different
So
things,
should we get started with the fourth one?
Definitely.
Okay, so before we start painting, just to quickly mention, a new addition to the palette is a colour called Aureolin, which is a bit of a mouthful, but it's a fantastic bright yellow, perfect for doing this kind of scene. The painting we're going to do is a sunset, so somewhere we need the sun, obviously. Yeah. So to do this, we can use a sun painting tool. So that's a penny and some tissue.
Good old penny.
Good old penny. If we pop it there in the middle of some tissue and just kind of gather it up and sort of twist it almost around, quite tight, you know, twist it around the actual coin so it's quite definite. Then you've got a sun and a moon painting tool when you're ready for it. So we can leave that to one side, ready for action, okay? We'll get the colours mixed, obviously, first of all. So the big brush, this is around about a size 10. The colours we're working with French ultramarine, alizarin crimson, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and the new colour, Aureolin. Okay, so because it's a sunset, we'll try and do as much as we can while the paper's wet. So a nice wet into wet effect again. So what we'll do is we'll start with the darkest colour and we'll do some French ultramarine blue. Medium sort of mixture, put the water in first as always, put the paint in there and then clean your brush and a little spot of that crimson red, alizarin crimson. So a slight purple tinge again, okay?
Is that a bit too much?
I think more blue. More blue definitely in that one there, yeah. That's better, just put a little bit of water to freshen it in a touch, okay? With it being a sunset picture, you can quite easily make your colours slightly stronger, alright? And then we'll go for some yellow ochre on its own. Again, plenty of water, but maybe slightly stronger than you did last time around. Okay. So that's the yellow ochre there. Now on a painting like this, the sky is the main emphasis. So it doesn't matter, the landscape can be quite basic really, it's the sky you're looking for on this one, okay? So the yellow ochre on its own. Then we'll go for the nice bright yellow, the Aureolin. So that's a very definite, much brighter yellow in comparison to the yellow ochre there. So you can see straight away, can't you?
It doesn't look that different from there to there, does it?
When it's in the actual area, but when you mix it, it seems to come alive, that colour, it does, yeah. So plenty of colour, nice and definite, quite heavy, quite thick for that one as well. So plenty of colour. This is the main colour for the sunset picture actually. So pretty straightforward so far. Still mixing away, we're going to go for the crimson red on its own. So, remember that's such a powerful one. Just move over to this side. You'll be fine, just move over to this side, you're okay. So that's alizarin crimson on its own, that's quite pale.
It's that one, is it?
That's right, the second one, that's it. The red. Very powerful colour, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, and then could be a little bit adventurous and put some dark clouds in as well maybe. So the fifth colour, you can do yours in there, you're fine. No, it's all right, yeah. We'll go for French ultramarine. You'll get green when you do that, but it's all right. Pop it in there. This can be quite a thicker colour, so make sure you put plenty of paint on this one, a slightly heavier colour, all right? So that's your French ultramarine blue. And then burnt sienna, make it grey again. So make a grey colour. So that's the browny, rusty colour, burnt sienna. So we've got the sky colours, and then we've got the grey. Touch more blue, maybe, for that one there. So this is French ultramarine and a tiny bit of crimson. This is yellow ochre. This is Aureolin. This is alizarin crimson. And then
That's
the grey colour.
Quite a dark.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a dark. Try and get like a silhouetted cloud against the sun type
Yeah.
feeling, yeah?
Yeah.
And then you've got your sun painting gadget. So we can get stuck in. Doesn't matter that the water's slightly dirty. We can just get straight on, put the water on as normal, wet into wet sky. As soon as you start doing the water, remember the time's against you because it's drying every second, all right? So put the water on all the way down, top to bottom this time.
Okay.
The whole picture. There's no sort of sea or anything on this one to restrict it. So just put it straight on there. Again, bounce around, look to see whether you've missed any bits. I always take a bit of time putting the water on because it's something what I think you should make sure you get right without over soaking it. One thing not to do is to use a big chunky brush and put it on, you know, just a nice sort of size 10 or something just to put that on there.
And you do miss bits, don't you? It's
little bits aren't too bad though on a
bit.
sky, but you know, as long as the majority, sometimes you see people just do it very quickly and it's not enough time really.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
And obviously just make sure the top's slightly damp as well.
Yeah.
So it goes on there. So a nice bright sunset then is the plan. And what I tend to do is put the brightest colours on first.
Okay.
So the yellow, pretty much straight across. You can see how bright it is. It's a smashing colour. This
Is it
really.
sort of halfway?
Yeah, the bottom half, let's say, shall we?
Yeah.
Do all the bottom half of your sky, just really
Just
sort of
all
pop it on.
completely yellow.
Yeah. So that goes on. Imagine you're painting a door like this. Sweep it on, yeah? Just slap it on as you do it. And that pretty much goes all the way down. Mainly the bottom half of it, I have to say, on that one there. So that's the bright yellow. And then we'll put the darker yellow slightly above. So the darker yellow goes in there as well. Just work this into it. So again, just get your colours working together, get them all blending. That's the fantastic thing about watercolour painting, it really is.
I mean, it's almost, if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter. You can
Not at this stage, no, you
everything
can
up,
just
can't
sort of
you?
manipulate it a little bit, and or you could stick a cloud or a bit of red or something over it to
that's
hide
a
the
good thing.
mistake.
So,
So the
most
yellow
of
ochre
that-
goes on at the top. Try and get the colours blending together, that's quite important. Be conscious of the time as well because it's drying every second that you're working on it, alright?
yeah, you can see it's nearly dry. So do I leave a little bit?
That's okay, because what we'll do now is we'll clean this brush and then we'll use the bluey lilac colour that we created at the beginning. And that goes right at the top. That colour goes right at the top. When it mixes with the yellows, it'll go slightly grey, alright? But that's fine, bring this in there. Blend the colours together. Plenty of colour, nice loaded brush, that's it. Juicy colour again, a loaded brush.
And just gradually bring it down?
Yeah, bring it down over the top of the darker yellow, so a bit more colour. So it goes slightly greyer, tinge of brown as well possibly in there. So you're getting that sort of yellow sunset feeling from this so far. That's it. Little bit of the pink. Every sunset needs a bit of pink in there somewhere, so we'll use the pinky crimson colour and just sweep it across towards the bottom of your sky. Let's say around where the sun might be. So put some of this around the bottom third. Still slapping it on,
Quite
you know.
right,
No,
yeah.
don't think about it. Just sort of plop it on there, you know. Just everything was
Random
done this
sort of-
time in horizontal brush strokes.
Yeah.
All right. Touch more colour again. It's slightly not strong enough yet. That's it. Get that full action. Pick up your speed a little bit. Come on. So it's blending with the yellow as you do it there. That's it. And then so you can see this is starting to do something interesting for a nice sort of sunset picture.
Yeah.
It's nice how the colours work together, and the interesting thing is when the colours do actually work together, you get variations when the red goes with the yellow, you get orange and so on. It's still shining, so it's still wet, so that means we can change brushes. This is the size 6, the worker brush, and we can use this brush and use the darker colour, put some clouds, put some dark silhouetted clouds in there. So just imagine doing this sort of thing, look, the dark grey clouds that you see on the sunsets. So just bring these in, sweep them across. So again, horizontal but maybe a little bit steady, that's it, spot on. Or sometimes put little blobby bits, you know, like this. Imagine the clouds.
So it runs a bit.
Yeah, so it's blending in with the colour. If you're lucky, you might get a bit of rain as well coming over. That's it, yeah, you've got it. So just little spotty bits on, and imagine the larger clouds at the top, thin lines at the bottom. So just put little spots and let the colour just spread. The colour you mix was slightly thicker, that means the spreading is not going to spread too far. The basic sort of rule of thumb is if the paper's still shining, then you can put this dark on. That's it. So yours wants something in the top left, just a few more. Almost let your brush jump on your paper like that sort of thing. Let it just sort of rest your wrist there and just let it. If you can do that. You can't quite reach there. You have to do that then. Rest it like that, and let it just sort of dance on your paper and let it work in. Like I say, the sky is the main part of this picture. The landscape, not too complex down there. So still working, still wet, which is fantastic, you know?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when you see the clouds with the red underneath, the red glow to the bottom, we could do a little bit of that as well now.
Yeah. Is that enough black, do you think? Dark?
I think that's very effective, yeah? Early evening.
Yep.
So clean your brush again, and then we'll come back to some of the crimson red. Probably slightly strengthen the colour up a little bit. Just wipe it on the side of your palette there, so it's not too heavy. Just sort of wipe it on the side, and then you can just put little bits of red
underneath,
under the clouds to give you the underlit effect for the clouds. Very effective technique. Again, only if you just run it over some tissue first, and then just till there's not as much paint going on, and then work it in. Now, if your sky's dry at this point, don't worry about putting the red on. It still works without it.
Yeah.
It's still a picture without it, so it's not a problem. It's just nice to do this.
That looks a bit, is that too
It's quite effective. No, when you get your sun on, it should hopefully work quite well down there. And I'm just going to put little bits of, still working, it's still nice and wet. So we can put the colour, put the red underneath. Try and get the grey blending with the red. Probably where you want to be with it, I think. I think that's okay there.
It's getting redder and redder.
That's fine. What we'll do now, look, is just come down to the bottom and just decide whether you think your paper's wet enough to get the sun. I think it's fine on yours.
Ooh.
That's probably enough, actually.
Is it?
There, yeah. That's okay. That's all right. If you get your penny and your tissue and then decide where you want your sun to be, preferably somewhere where it's a little bit damp, maybe around there on yours. Put mine there and just give it a good old splodge. And you get the sun effect shining through your clouds.
Very clever.
Yeah, you see, that's the useful things you can do with a penny.
Think?
I think around about there on yours would be nice. So a slightly different position, but whatever position works for your picture. It's all right, isn't it? Yeah.
Well,
you see, yours is a lighter sky, but it still works.
Yeah.
You know, it still works. Yours is more like early evening feeling. This is a bit later, a bit more stormy.
It's going to rain. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to rain on this one. Yeah. So.
Do you think I need to blend that bit, or is that?
Blending is quite interesting because what you could do, clean your brush, squeeze out all the colour so it's a dry brush, and then just very lightly sort of work over the edge.
It just looks a bit blunt.
And just kind of softening the edge a little bit with it.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, so you can just like, as long as it's a bit shiny, which yours is just about, then you can do this.
Just blend it in a little bit.
If it's not shining, don't do it,
Don't
because you'll spoil it, all right? Don't go over your sun, yeah, that's right, yeah. Could be a moon.
Moon, sun.
And I think that could nicely dry off, and then put a little bit of landscape at the bottom just to finish it off.
Yeah, that's better. Now I've blended that little bit.
It's quite nicely soft, yours, actually. It's got a nice soft feeling to it, hasn't it? Yeah.
It's made a lot of difference, actually.
Yeah, it's lovely, actually.
You could go on forever, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, that's right, yeah. So while that's drying off, just a quick recap of what you've just done, because it's quite a lengthy sky process, that. The most important thing was to mix plenty of colour and get your paper with plenty of water that it's not going to dry quick on you. And that's something what you'll learn more over time as you do it. So basically, French ultramarine and a tiny bit of crimson. That was yellow ochre. Yeah. That was aureolin. That was crimson, alizarin crimson. And this one was French ultramarine and burnt sienna for the dark silhouette grey clouds. Yeah. Okay. And it was wet the whole paper. Always with your skies, put the brightest colours on first. So the yellows went on first, the bright yellow, the darker yellow. The blue at the top, then a bit of the red for where the sun is, around the sun. And then the dark, let your brush do the dancing on the paper there. Bit of the red underneath. Take your time with this one because it's a nice effect and it's well worth practicing this one because it's a smashing end result.
It's a good effect.
It is lovely, yeah.